is
Loc
Loc
Talk!
Talk.
Loc Talk!
It is.
Welcome to episode 11 of the Loc Talk podcast with Karen and Brian.
Hey everybody.
Hi everybody. This is Karen and Brian from Loc Talk. This is episode, I don't even know. We're just going into it now. And our guest today, I'm so excited. Brian, do you want to introduce our guest today?
So this dude is one of the coolest looking models, locked models around. He's with Wilhelmina, based in LA and New York, and a soccer player, athlete, very sports focused. And we had the fortunate experience of working with him in LA for our Noggin Oil launch, which was 2 years ago. Do you remember that, Reece?
Yeah, it feels like doesn't feel like 2 years ago, that's for sure.
Come closer to the screen. We want to see you.
So, dude, what's going on? How's life?
Nothing much. It's been quarantined because school's all online right now. So I've just been home, unfortunately. I can't wait to get back to New York, but who knows when that will be. But yeah, for the most part, I've just been at home reading, doing a lot of homework, stressing. That's about it for now. But I hope things will start to open up a little bit more soon.
Yeah.
What have you been studying?
Right now, I'm taking philosophy of science, metaphysics, psychology class, and a cosmology class, so like astronomy. But it's been kind of a grind just because online I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're not a fan of online learning?
Not the way that they're doing it, because these classes aren't designed to be online. So they're trying to make it seem like it's normal, but obviously we're not in a normal situation at all. But I've taken online classes in the past, but those classes were meant to be online. So it was way different.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. They're trying to make an old platform the same on a different platform, or the old methods on a new platform, and it's just not translating right.
Exactly. It's not at all. How are you two?
Oh, thanks for
Good.
asking. We're okay. I'm okay. Brian, you're okay?
Good. We're holding our own. We were in lockdown for 3 months, but I guess the end of June we came out of it, and there's a second wave happening now. So there are some lockdowns in sort of little niche areas like restaurants and bars, and so it's sort of micro-targeting what's going on now. And we're crossing our fingers that it doesn't go widespread again. But I feel really sorry for restaurants and bars and businesses that were struggling already, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but just gotta keep slogging along, take every day at a time.
Slogging along. What does that even mean? I know what it means, but is that a word? Oh, Brian. Yeah, it's been a juxtaposition of emotions, right? You know, if you are one of the people in the world that are okay, and when I say okay, I mean, you know, you still have bad days, but you have a roof over your head, you have food on your plate, you're not stressed to pay the bills, you know, those basic needs in life. If, you know, so many people aren't in that position, and it's hard when you know, you're like, I have to look out for myself, and how can I help other people only when I'm doing my best in my best place. And when people are not in their best place, they can't reach out to others and help them too. And it just becomes this domino effect.
Yeah.
So
Reece, I was on your TikTok, and Reese's Peanut Butter Cup with a K. It's awesome. And a lot of what you sort of are into on TikTok is race, discussing race. And so you're white, black, and Mexican. And tell us about showing up on set. Are you often, well, they kind of expect you're coming, obviously. But do most people like working with locks on set? And
I don't know if they like to. Most of the people I've met are very, very inexperienced with working with locks on set. That's for certain. I think I've only worked with one hairdresser who has previously either had locks or worked with locks before. It's very, very uncommon. And usually it's always asking, do you mind if I put this in your hair or that? For the most part, I make sure that it's like something that will easily wash out. And then as soon as I get home, I'm just like washing my hair because I doubt they even know. For the most part, they don't usually put, as long as it's like natural, not a lot of chemicals. And usually like for patting down my hair, I think water suffices for the most part just to keep the roots down to look clean on camera. So it's not usually too bad, but I haven't had anybody do it. What?
For your hair type.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
For some hair types, but yeah, definitely water is not going to work for people with a more textured hair than yours.
Yeah, exactly. But I haven't had anybody do anything crazy with my hair. Usually they're kind of like, all right, can you do this for me? I'm like, yeah, I'll try my best, but like obviously if I don't have a mirror, I can't see what my locks look like, and they're always one will be going one way, one going the other. So I'm like, feel free to just adjust it, tuck it in, do whatever you want. I can't see it. But it hasn't been too bad. I haven't experienced like nobody's done anything stupid or messed up my hair yet. I hope, knock on wood, they don't. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, because Brian had mentioned at the beginning how Reece and we met. Reece reached out to me on Instagram because I think you knew I was going to be heading out to LA at one point, or you were recommended by Philip Wolf.
Yeah.
And I said, well, isn't that a coincidence? I'm actually on a shuttle bus to the airport to go to LA. And I said, maybe we can connect on that trip. And that was the first time a couple of years ago. And then Brian and I had our West Coast launch party for Noggin Oil. I think it was a year ago, April. So that's 2019.
No, was it?
No.
Yes, guys, because April 2020, we were in lockdown. It was a year and a half ago.
Wow, okay. I thought it was 2 years ago.
You thought what?
I thought it was like 2018. But
don't tell me it was 2018. Then
I think it is 2018.
No, has it been that long?
Yeah, because you made maintenance on my hair last August, I think, or last September, but that wasn't when you launched though. That was the second time you were out here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I think it was
crazy, eh? Time just flies.
Well, okay. So regardless of when it happened, we invited Reece to be our model for our West Coast launch party. And that was a fun party. That was in Burbank at Cinema Secrets. And it was such a great eclectic group of people coming together and learning about what Noggin Oil is all about. And I know, Reece, you really like our products and use them because they're natural. They're not a lot of there's no synthetics. There's no harsh perfumes or chemicals of that sort. So
yeah, that was a great event. And how's work been? I mean, obviously now it's been locked down for a while, but up until the pandemic hit, has it been a good steady time for you modeling?
Yeah, when I was in New York, so I moved out to New York in late January. I was going on like a lot more stuff there because there's a lot more work in New York anyways, but for whatever reason, I was just getting way more gigs and whatnot and castings and shooting way more. Did my first cover. So it was really good for those first 2 months before COVID hit. Then now most work is kind of wound down, especially in LA because LA is doing not great compared to most major cities. So yeah, right now for the most part, but I'm still doing some. I just did a couple things last week, a couple of shoots for some clothing lines, and I have some stuff and test shoots coming up. So hopefully that will keep rolling. But I was also in school in New York, so it's really difficult juggling both those because they're like, are you available on this day? And I actually am not because I have class, but then I tell them, hey, yeah, I am. And then wait to see if I get it or not, and then decide whether or not I'll be skipping class. But it's fun. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's definitely a little bit of a struggle having to balance those two things.
I'm curious. Let's talk a bit about you know, Brian said that you're white, you're Black, and you're Mexican. And you know, it's interesting. Like when we talk, you know, we have conversation that is very comfortable and normal. But, you know, when strangers approach you and ask you random questions, it gets a little bit exhausting, I would imagine.
Yeah, so Brian found me on TikTok. This last week, actually, I think I've gotten about somewhere in like 500,000, 700,000 views, and I've gotten like I think 80,000 likes in the last week, and almost all my videos have been about my race, like Brian pointed out. The one that went big wasn't initially about my race, but then people commented on that video asking like, "What are you?" Yada yada yada. And for whatever reason, it's been like a huge topic now. So I've had like literally hundreds of comments of people saying, you know, like asking, and then some people like trolling the comments like, oh, he's not Black, he's not mixed or whatever. And then people are like backing me like, oh no, he is, like, look. And then I just made a video. Again, it's TikTok, so I don't take it too seriously. I know who I am. I don't, you know. But I just did a video like showing my like the Black and Mexican side of my family. So now people are like, okay, yeah, he's definitely mixed for anybody who doubted him. It can be exhausting in a certain, I think TikTok is exhausting in everyday life. It's not like I get asked that everywhere I go. And it's not like every person I meet asks that necessarily. Obviously on TikTok, because it's thousands of people and there's hundreds of comments, it can be kind of like annoying, but I don't take a super ton of offense to it. Like my first video about my ethnicity, someone asked if I was white or mulatto. And that was when I got really like controversial, and people were like talking in the comments, and people were like, why is that offensive or why is it not? And again, like I'm not offended that they asked it to me, because I think the person was foreign, so they generally didn't know. And I'm not gonna like flip out on somebody if they call me mulatto, but I'm gonna say, hey, just don't use that word.
And do you want to tell the listeners why not to use mulatto?
So this is perfect. There's I think a mix of reasons. So first off, obviously mulatto comes from slave trade and colonial era, but then also some people like trying to back like, oh, it's a Spanish word that's very common. But if you look at the Spanish origins of the word, it comes from mule. And I mean, calling somebody a mule who's I guess half-breed or cross-breed of a donkey and a horse isn't really a good thing. So even in Spanish, I don't think the word is super positive. Maybe it's more common there. But that's for one thing. And then historically, I think in American pop culture, especially in cinematic history and literary history, there's the archetype of the tragic mulatto, which I've like studied in courses and film classes. And mostly the tragic mulatto in movies are people who pass as white, but internally there's always this like struggle with them, like they hate their Black side because they'll never be fully white. A perfect example of this is the movie called Imitation of Life. It's from, I think, the 50s or 40s. And it's about a mixed girl who's passing for white, but then when people find out her mom's Black, they're like, and then she hates her mom because of that. And it's like, it's a really big struggle. But personally, I mean, they characterize people who are mixed as hating who they are back then because of the Black, which is very negative. Because I don't hate who I am because I'm Black, like not at all. And so that's another reason why the word mulatto I don't think should be used. In a very like I don't think really like ever again. I'm not gonna get mad if somebody asks me that question, not knowing. I'm not get that. I won't get that offended. But I will tell them, yeah, you shouldn't use that word. There's other words to use, and this is why you shouldn't use that word.
Yeah. 20 years ago, I mean, that was a very common word. I mean, I've used that word, you know, but as society has sort of evolved and developed, I think we become a lot more empathetic and more understanding of history, and realize that, yeah, we all have to be a lot more respectful of the words we use, the terms we use, and because, yeah, some of them are really hurtful. Like Oriental is another one. You know, I hear people saying Oriental all the time, and that, I just find that really strange that people nowadays still use that word. Like you say Asian, or, you know, South Asian or whatever, but Mandarin, you know, whatever. But anyway, we're all learning, right? We're all learning to try and get along a little bit better.
Yeah, and I appreciate, like, what I think is so great about the bi and triracial people that are growing up in the next generations are saying, hey, look, you know, I am part of this and I am part of that. And to be proud as a human that, you know, where you come from and what you do in this world, in this lifetime, is what is important. And I think it like anything else, we all grow up with unconscious bias, and that needs to then turn into conscious bias, right? Which, once you have that awareness of why you react the way you react to things, is because of where you grow up and who your friends are and your peers and your school and your family. And as I say, like, the more blended we are as a world, we can only move towards being just normal, like everything, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is, right? It's just a more of curiosity, right? And knowing that, what's the context of what somebody's asking? Are they asking it because because they're genuinely curious, as you say, Reece, right? Where it's just like, you know, but there's a time and a place to ask, and you don't just randomly come up to someone and be like, well, what are you? Like, excuse me?
I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
What's been some of your favorite shoots to be on? Tell us, can you give us some juicy insight, some behind the scenes stories?
I think trying to think through them, because like in New York, I wasn't like working I was working way more than here, but it was, again, like trying to balance between school and modeling. But I think the one I had, like the most fun I've had, I did like a small e-commerce one, and I met like my best friend in New York there, and so I really enjoyed that one because we just had a really good time on set together. And the stylist, who was like hilarious, and the photographer, like, we were all just having a blast. And that was for a company called Jimmy Jazz. It's kind of it's more on the East Coast than it is on the West Coast. But I think one of my favorite shoots I've done so far probably has to be the cover I did for a magazine in New York. It was I think my second or first week in New York, so I was still kind of getting adjusted to the way the industry is there, and it was very different for me. But on set, it was crazy. There was, I think, six of us at a time, but I think over the whole day there was like 10 models, and then there was a photographer, there was a lighting assistant, there was an editor already there working on photos as they shot onto the computer. There was 2 hair makeups and 2 stylists. So it was a pretty big production for me. That was shocking to see that many people there, because I hadn't been anything on that scale yet. But it was like so much fun. The pictures came out so great, but it was just really funny to me. Like, I just stand there and like, all right, wait here, and then there's like 4 of the people orchestrating what's going on, and then they're like redoing makeup or whatever it is, or adjusting the clothes. So that was a lot of fun. And then, yeah, I mean, most of them are pretty, I mean, I don't know what it is. It's like a little rush to get. It's definitely exciting for sure.
And for the most part, you're getting positive reactions having your locks too, right? And that's what helps with certain gigs, and it might also hinder certain gigs.
Yeah, it is. I've had a lot of people, even like when I was in New York, because I was shooting more, I was getting exposure to other photographers and other editors and stuff. But I think a lot of people in New York, I have people in the street actually, I have photographers in the street stop me. They were like, do you model, or like, have you modeled before? And they like get all my info because they want to shoot, and I even got scouted by another place. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, I've gotten, I think, only positive reactions as far as what I've seen. Maybe on like my agent side, somebody has said to them, oh no, like you can't have locks, or I don't know. But for me, like just being in New York and the people I've shot with and people I've met with, they're just like, oh my gosh, I love your hair, and yada yada. There's obviously going to be a mix of people no matter which hair I have at the time. But yeah.
Well, dude,
But eventually,
you're going to get a big campaign one day. Oh yeah.
it'll be for noggin oil.
Exactly.
That would be a little campaign.
No.
No, man, big campaign. Do you want to talk about sports for a minute? Are you still doing, I guess, with the lockdown and everything, all the sports is just sort of not happening?
Yeah. So I'm supposed to be playing soccer when I go to school in spring. I was supposed to actually in New York be playing over the summer with the U23s at New York Red Bulls, but that got postponed because of COVID. But in quarantine, I've been playing a lot of pickleball.
What?
It's like smaller tennis.
Okay.
Essentially, it is like the fastest growing sport in the US. It's called pickleball.
Pickle, as in like
Yeah,
pickle.
as in pickle. It sounds sillier than it is. And they actually, a lot of people I've talked to that play pickleball have discussed how the name needs to be changed if people want to take it seriously. But through that, I actually partnered with Fila, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw it in your feed. Cool.
Yeah, so that was kind of a funny coincidence. I just reached out, and then the director of marketing had emailed back and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like exactly what we've been looking for." It was like funny coincidence thing again. They're like, we want to start branching out into like the influencer community and whatnot to help it spread out pickleball and get ambassadors and stuff. So they still haven't released the program yet. I was the first one to kind of join with them, but I met with her and she just was like, "This is such funny timing for thinking about doing this." So I met with them virtually, and so that was really cool. It was a really funny coincidence, but it's one of the few things that are open right now in LA County and Ventura County. So people play pickleball
because of the nature of the sport.
Yeah, because you're on different sides of the court, so you're way more distance. You don't make contact. So yeah, it's much more distance friendly.
So all the gyms have closed here. I'm sure they're all closed in LA. Are you doing lots of outdoor workouts?
Yes, my gym, what they did was they moved all the equipment outside to
great.
like the parking garage. So they have a parking garage where people usually, the members usually park, but they put all the equipment in there. So it's like really spread out, but personally, I'm not like a huge fan of it. And it's been a little hot here too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Karen's been working out.
Thanks, Brian. I know, but I'm wearing a sweater, so you can't tell. But yeah, no, I've been getting into like resistant band training. A woman called Anita Herbert, her company is called Fit Queen Academy, and she does these 6-week challenges. And I was like, okay, I think I can subscribe to this. I mean, I'm doing at-home workouts, and it's great. It works for me. But if you live, in a 300 square foot condo, that might not work for you, which is why I understand why. And so, people need the gym, and you're lucky that you're in Los Angeles that, you're complaining that it's too hot, but you can have outdoor gyms all year round.
Yeah, that's pretty lucky. That's the thing I've missed the most about the shutdown is not going to the gym, because it's the whole thing, it's arriving, you get all sweaty, your body feels amazing, you have a shower after, it's like you're renewed, right? And physically, spiritually, mentally, as a being, you just feel so much better. And I didn't realize how important that was to me. But I'm still running and, doing the workouts at home kind of thing.
Yeah, we were even talking about actually marketing noggin oil to gyms for that reason, that, when you need to go and you don't have a lot of time to shampoo, and if you have locks and you don't want to wet all your hair, but you want to take the sweat off, that, like, Reece, you're still, do you still have noggin oil? Do we need to send you more?
So I found this out like a couple weeks ago. I was very, very heartbroken. So my stuff in New York got shipped back to me when they decided we weren't going to go back to school, like we were going to return. And they threw out my noggin oil that I took to school with me. So I was like,
they threw it out?
I was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I definitely need some more. But I was actually going to ask you if I can still get it in Burbank.
Cinema Secrets is closed. Yeah. They're like gone, but we do have a few retailers in California. I think was it Sean, yeah, and Q, and also Sunset Marquee Salon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely, they're selling it online, so because it's not open. So I'll send you the link, but I think it's if you Google Sunset Marquee Salon, you'll be able to find the website.
Yeah,
all right, I'll do that right now.
So, did you ever see Zoolander, Reece?
I saw it a long, long time ago. I know what it's about.
Okay.
But I haven't seen it recently.
Because I wanted you to give us your best Blue Steel as we say goodbye. And thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Yes. I think that would be a great way. We need to, I'm gonna like.
I don't even think I could do it like a serious face from you. Like whatever, I can't, like when I have friends that ask me like, oh, like pose for us or whatever. I don't know why I can't.
But that's why you do the head turn, right? You're like.
You do the head turn. That's what makes it work. Come on, give it a shot. Let's go.
See, I can't. I still can't be like taken seriously.
Bam, we got it. Karen took a screenshot.
Yeah.
I still can't be taken seriously. It's so different being like on set and then being like anywhere else. I don't know what it is. I just like freak out for the most part.
It's well, I mean, modeling is like acting. You have to get into a character and you have to just basically like, remove everything else that's going on around you, and you have to focus. It's not just showing up and it just magically happens. I mean, not everyone can do modeling, and when you do it well, and it's a combination of skill and personality and being able to work with all the people around you, it's not such a Blue Steel moment, and it's done.
And so you guys on Apple and Spotify that are checking us out are going to have to go on YouTube to see.
I was thinking the same thing.
Blue Steel, because he kicked it out of the park.
Well, Reece, thank you so much for today. We had such a great time catching up with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to just let everybody know where they can follow you on socials and so forth?
Yeah, Instagram is spelled out Reece Knupp, ReeceKnupp, and then Brian's my TikTok. It's a little longer. It's Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, but cup is with a K, and Reece is with a C. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, and we'll hope to see you again, and hopefully one day in person, because I know we need to schedule a maintenance. But your hair, like, can I say, it is really on point.
Yeah,
it is.
Beautiful.
The locks are doing so well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of working me out of a job, so
No, you should see the roots usually. Don't worry, I still need you, for sure.
All right, take care.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for watching.
Loc Talk. Loc Talk. Loc Talk. Excellent.
did.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Loc Talk with Karen and Brian.